Hey guys, last page looker back here with the second part of my paperbacks to my Stephen King. So I'll get right into it, make this quick. I don't have very few, this might take 4 or 5 minutes. It depends on how winded I am. Okay, from a Buick 8. It took me a while to get to read this book, but I'm glad I did. I'll tell you what, it's not like Christine. You know, it may be a car book, but it's not like Christine. Very good book. Didn't take long to read. Some people might not like it because it's hard to explain. It doesn't really give you any detail of anything. After you finish it, you're still wondering what it was or what it could have been. It's up to your imagination. But I'll tell you what, I can give it a chance. It's a good book. Hearts in Atlantis. This is I think 4 stories are in it, but they all intertwine. You know, it starts in the 60s during Vietnam, moves up to the 90s. But the very first book was made into the movie Hearts in Atlantis, and it is an excellent read. And it has a lot to do with the Dark Tower series. So if you're a Dark Tower fan, this is a good book to read. Very good book. Everything's Eventual. This is a short story book. I have not read this book. I think it has 1408 and it has which is, you know, very good movie. I got this book not too long ago and it was raining, so it's a little wet, so I don't know if you can see that. That ticked me off. But yeah, I haven't read hardly any of his short story books, so I don't know. I wish I would get into them, but I just haven't yet. Here's another short story, Nightmare and Dreamscapes. Have not read it. Couldn't even tell you what ones are in it. The Night Flyer looks like, Dylan's Cadillac. But I'll get to it eventually. Here's another one, Stephen King, 4 Past Midnight. I don't like how they put the movie adaptation on here. Kind of takes away from it, but I think a Secret Window. I want to think Langoliers, because I started reading that. I don't know if I got them marking somewhere. Library Policeman. I think there's only 4 in this one, hence 4 Past Midnight. But yeah, I'll get to it. Alright, next one. Terrible Movie, I thought. Good book, I thought, you know, to me. Dreamcatcher. Once again, it was one of those I started, put down, started back again. Yeah. And I like the characters, you know. The saying in here, I want to say, is it SSDS? It's pretty, you know, same shit, different day. No, SSDD. That makes sense. God, I'm an idiot. But yeah, that's where I got that. You know, so that's part I like. You know, good book. Not one of my favorites. You know, a lot better than the movie, but most of them are. Another short story. I don't even know anything about it, so I'm not gonna act like I do. Full Dark, No Stars. A Good Marriage. I did watch that movie though. That was actually pretty good. But I just got this recently in the mail, so never really got to that. Lizzie's Story, or Lizzie's Story. Let me pick that up. I have not read it. I think, you know, it's about an author, famous author. Go figure, Stephen King writing about a famous author. And I think he dies. His wife finds out he had powers to another place or something. So I'm sure I'll read it. I've heard good and bad about this book, but I like the cover. So. Needful Things. I ordered this book. It took about a month to get to me, and I didn't know why, but I've come to find out this is the British edition. So I got this from England. I love the cover. The book was good, you know, fairly good, fairly thick book, but the book was real good, I thought, you know, kind of funny, kind of, you know, what people will do to have a certain object in their hands, you know, but a good book, good Stephen King book. Here's a thick book. Under the Dome. Great book. You know, what can I say? It's one of those, like I said in my other thing, it made me mad. So I put it down, got it back, finished it, was glad I did. Good book. I recommend this to anybody. I think I had a lot of people at work reading this book, and then the series came out and kind of ruined it for everybody. 11/22/63. Another great book. The characters were well written. I couldn't complain. The ending was great, even though it still ticked me off, but it's kind of the way it had to end. But you can see it's a fairly thick book. Really good book. Okay, my last books, but not least, are my Dark Tower series. First book, I'll just go in chronicle order. The Gunslinger was not my favorite, not gonna lie, and it made me almost not want to read this series, but I fought through it, and I read it, so that's all I'll say about that one, but it's the reason it got it going. The next book, I started reading this, A Drawing of Three. The first chapter, I hated it. But a friend at work said I had to get through it. I got through it. I'm glad I did. Actually, it's a really good book. The Wastelands, good book. I mean, I don't remember much. I want to say this is when they got Jake back. I'm not for sure, but I thought it was a good book. My favorite, one of my favorites, if not my favorite, is The Wizard in Glass. And this kind of is a backstory of Roland when he was younger. It's a love story. And a lot of people didn't like it in the series, but I thought it was great. Can't complain. This and The Talisman are probably my two favorite books. Wolves of Calla. I just couldn't wait to get this one over with. I'm not going to lie. It dragged on. I mean, Father Callahan showed up in this one from Salem's Lot, but to me, it just kind of dragged on. Songs of Susanna. Now, a lot of people said they didn't like this one. They liked Wolves of Calla better, but I like this one better than Wolves of Calla. Good book, though. Good book. The last one, The Dark Tower. I was reading this book, and then I put it on top of my car, and I took off to work, and I couldn't find it, and I remember it was on top of my car, and the next day I'm going back to work, and there it was on the side of the road, and it was cold out. No one had got it. Nothing happened to it. It hadn't rained that night, thank God, and I got it back, and I finished the book. Good book. The ending, some people didn't like it. I thought it was, a great ending. It was kind of, what else do you do, type of thing. Sometimes Stephen King has trouble ending his books, but I thought this one was pretty good. And this is one, he came out later after the series and went through the keyhole. I have not read this book yet, but I think it's like a 4.5, so to go like after Wizard in Glass and before Wolves of Calla. But I've heard it's a pretty good book. And I've got one graphic novel. I've got I haven't read it. It's a short story in one of his books too. I want to say Sunset or Just After Sunset or something like that. I have not read it, but it's a graphic novel. Probably wouldn't take but 20 minutes, 35 minutes to read for me. But kind of cool little cover. I think I paid $25 for this. I don't know what I was thinking. But there you go. That's my paperback edition. I hope you like it. I'll start doing some book reviews later on my Stephen King books and showing you some of my other books. But Stephen King by far is my favorite author. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.